Welcome to Webinar Wednesday. We're excited to have Fluke Biomedical participate as one of our on-demand webinars for Webinar Week. This presentation is eligible for 1 CE credit from the ACI. At the conclusion of this webinar, you'll be able to access a link that will take you to a quick survey. Once you submit this survey, you'll be able to download your certificate. A quick reminder before we get started today, the first of 3 HTM mixers will take place next month, August 19th and 20th at the Omni Interlaken Hotel in Denver, Colorado. This event is supported by the Colorado Association of Biomedical Equipment Technicians. Join us for 2 days of networking, continuing education, and vendor engagement in a slightly modified, less crowded, and safer environment. To join us for this event, please visit htmmixer.com where you can find more information and online registration. Webinar Wednesday would like to thank our sponsor, Fluke Biomedical. Fluke Biomedical is the premier global provider of test and measurement equipment and services to the healthcare industry. You can learn more about this company by visiting flukebiomedical.com. Our presenters today are Marcella Lobo, Senior Product Manager, and Justin Ross, Fluke Biomedical Channel Partner. Marcella, you may begin whenever you are ready.
Thanks for joining us today. I have here Justin, one of our channel partners, and myself, Marcella, Product Manager. We're going to talk about a very interesting topic, how to gain an FTE without hiring a new employee or cutting corners using our new software, our new Fluke Biomedical software called OneQA. And we have a full agenda. So in the next 45 minutes, we'll be talking about these 3 topics: how to decrease training and documentation costs, how to expedite your workflow, and how to reduce test times and error. And we, as you can see here, my name is Marcella Lobo. I'm the Senior Product Manager at Fluke Health Solutions. And Justin, I'll let him introduce himself.
Hello, I'm Justin Ross. I'm the channel partner covering Pennsylvania, New York City, and New Jersey. I also work with the marketing team. So if you ever see any training videos with the guy with a 9 3/4 fingers, that's me.
Yeah. And Fluke Health Solutions is part of Fortive, and we are here today to focus on the workflow productivity solution that's part of Fluke Health. Today, Fluke Health is a global organization with more than 700 team members addressing over 35 countries. And what we want to talk to you about are your problems. If you are a biomedical manager, this is going to resonate with you. You might not have enough time. There's overwhelming pressure to meet throughput targets. You don't have time to keep up with so much regulation change. There's also a lot of pressure to reduce costs. Even pre-COVID, you were having a lot of cost restraints. There's always many audits, local, state, internal audits that you have to manage, especially those deadlines that are always on your back. And you might be trying to bring change to your organization, trying to train your team, and there might be a lot of resistance to that change. So we are hoping to address a lot of these pain points and really dive into these 4 things that we talked about in order to gain an FTE without hiring a new employee. You might say, Marcella, what are you talking about? How is that possible? So this is how we're going to do it. We're going to approach each of these bullet points and show you how our software can solve that pain point. And first, we'll start with the stepwise testing with Justin. Then we'll jump into expedite for workflow with me. And then back to Justin about reduced test time. And then all of these will cover how we can mitigate risk. So let's first start with the big question. How exactly can we say we have efficiency gains up to $100,000? Around what we're estimating could be the cost of one of your FTEs. So if you look at the top left corner here in the gray, we have done a lot of tests here to estimate how much you can save from the test time using an automation software. Also, the time you would save through automated documentation, as well as the reduced training, because our software is so easy to use and the protocols are very easy to follow. There's a lot of training that won't be needed as much previously. So if you sum up all of these 3 activities and multiply by, let's say, 4 engineers, there are over $80,000 of efficiency gains, taking into account the average cost per hour of an FTE plus benefits. In addition to those efficiencies, because our software has a lot of procedures that are pre-built and sample, you won't have to spend months or even multiple hours going through creating these procedures, as well as different benefits that we've calculated, such as having an infrastructure that's on the cloud, being able to customize your reports, getting access to free upgrades. And in addition to that, all the mitigated risks that come from minimizing human error, also having an updated platform that meets the security and compliance needs of today's hospitals, and the compliance documentation. So if you sum the efficiencies plus these three that we calculated around $20,000 per year of efficiency, you get about the cost of an FTE. And basically, what we're trying to show you today is all of this cost efficiencies you can take, and this FTE that you have today can deploy in more value add activities, perhaps things that you really want to get done and they haven't been able to be done before. So ideally, this efficiency gains can help you meet the targets that you're looking for, can help you accomplish projects that you want to accomplish. So hopefully we will show you today how to gain all of these efficiencies. So now I'll jump over to Justin, and he'll talk about the first step, which is stepwise testing, and he will show you how that can decrease training and documentation costs.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So I'm going to flip over to my desktop here, maybe. And here we go. We're actually into the OneQA software here. And into the OneQA software, things that you can program into this is not only the equipment record, the standard stuff you're going to have recorded into every CMMS platform, the make, model, serial number. You can also add specific notes. So maybe the access codes, or you can tie into here a PDF file from the service manual showing how to gain entrance into the boards that you need to change out. All those things can be inserted right into here. Then you can start to add on your procedures. So it comes with over 60 pre-built procedures, but you can go into any one of these or create your own and modify these procedures. So where we can reduce that training is you can take your senior level technician and have them jump to one of these procedures and say, okay, hey, listen, if we change these steps around so that you do step 1, step 2, and then step 4, and then circle back to 3, because I've done so many of these, I know that it still gets done, but it's going to streamline that process. And then that's all in here and saved, and that's going to be passed on to the next technician. It's already going to be in here. It's already been approved. It's already done. Other things that you can add into this. So maybe your senior level technician did go to the factory training and he learned the steps and he learned additional bits of knowledge to do the general testing. So you can record all those steps into here and put them in, and it's a pass-fail test. And then the next technician is just opening up the software and following through the steps. They're not having to go to the training. It's all already wrote out here for what to do. And then when that technician gets stuck or has a question or finds something that's not within line with what the senior tech's saying, he can go back to the senior tech and say, hey, listen, I was performing this procedure. I hit the step. I have a question. But the point is he was able to go out and do a very large portion of that PM by himself or with minimal guidance because everything's already been saved. That knowledge is being passed down from one level tech to the next level technician. When we talk about the COVID and all these other things that are going on that may be pulling us or splitting our shops into different time hacks than we're used to. Some people have had a day shift, some people have a night shift, some people are running a third shift to reduce the number of people in a shop at a time. This becomes a way to pass that workflow from one technician to the next technician. So they can get into here and start a work order, get partway through, and then maybe they run out of time for the night, but it still needs to be completed. They can go into here and see that there's not a green light, that there's a red light, and they need to pick back up at that point and say, hey, let me finish this PM, let me finish this repair. But the point is, it's all here and at your fingertips. So those are some great ways to reduce it right off the bat. Shooting back to you, Marcella.
Great, thanks. So one thing that I also wanted to show you guys is The ability to add images for every single step is really easy to do. So over here, as you guys can see, when I added this procedure, I took images that are very good for anyone. So 60% of Americans are visual learners. So it's very helpful to always add these photos. So with the sample procedures from OneQA, you have access to these procedures as well as actually adding your photos yourself. So one day I visited a hospital in Texas and I met someone who was kind of new. He had about 1 or 2 years of experience, and he used to take all the steps and photos of the steps on his phone. So basically, what I showed him was like, okay, so now you can share that with all your colleagues, and you can add all your photos that you use, and they're very helpful because for this specific test that he was telling me, he says, "Oh, I only have to do this once a year, Marcella, so I don't really remember what to do, and then I don't want to relearn every procedure every year." So in this way, he could even, so I've deleted this one. I can show you how easy you could, for example, click on this added image and then you can easily add images to your software. So for example, let me see if I can pick a random one here. So as you can see, I've just randomly added a photo of something that I want that person to do. So it's also really easy, especially if you have a new team or many devices that you don't do a PM until like maybe 12 months. It's very helpful so you don't have to remember the step and also minimizing the chance of error. So why don't we go to a video recording?
Hi. So one of the questions you get asked about OneQA is just how hard is it to add a new device to OneQA? Let me show you. We're going to go up here, we're going to go to the plus symbol. Now we're going to enter the asset ID. This is going to be your Biomed tag or however else your hospital wants to buy it. So let's put Biomed and we'll give this one asset tag number 1234. Hit the tab button, we're going to go over here. Our device is an infusion pump. So infusion device, manufacturer, here we go, Abbott. Model, Plum XL. Plum XL, there we go. Serial number. We'll flip it around here and get the serial number off the back side. Okay. 1, 2, 3. There we go. And the firmware version. We don't really care about that in this facility, so let's skip that. The last time it was serviced is going to be today. We're going to do this one every 12 months. So 12 months, and the next one's going to be due next year at this time. So this will automatically track, of course. Description. Please make sure you take the infusion pump tester with you as well as a cassette. Oh, can't spell today. It's a good thing to know, so I just click on here with my right key and then fix the word infusion. There we go. Now, so I know that this is my IV pump because there's a bunch of different IV pumps out in the hospital. I took a picture of me and this IV pump. So let's just go ahead and find that picture here. We'll hit add item. Look, here's a picture of me and my IV pump. There we go. And I'm going to simply hit save. That is how easy it is to add an item to OneQA. Thank you. So there it was. That's just how simple it is to add a new device to our system, and how simple it is to add all those notes. So your PDF files, your pictures, your manuals, anything that you feel that your technician is going to need to best accomplish their job when they're out in the field or out on the floor doing their service. So we'll go back to you, Marcella, for the next topic.
Thanks, Justin. So the next topic, we're going to talk about how you can expedite a full workflow. So every time you run a test in OneQA, you can either create an auto export PDF, or you have the raw data sent to your local C folder. So as you can see here, all of my tests are automatically create a PDF with all the information. I can also automatically mark a test as a pass or a fail on a CMMS. And I'd love to show you that right now. So what you will see here in this video that I'm going to play is how you can, on your CMMS, launch OneQA. It's automatically going to open OneQA on the procedure necessary for that asset. So it already has all the information from the test device. You can quickly run a procedure on OneQA, automatically showing the pass and fail. So here you will see, I will just click done. And when that happens, when the results in OneQA are posted as a pass, it will take just a few seconds for the test for the report to be generated. You can see on the top right, you have our software buffering, generating that test report and sending that data information to the CMMS automatically. So once that is finalized, basically there's no paperwork done. As you can see here, it says the result is a positive. So I go back to my CMMS where I started this work order, and you will see that the work in progress here in the verification data has the value as a pass. So automatically, after a test was performed, you saw that the test result was sent to the CMMS. So automatically you get a pass on the work order sent from our software to your CMMS. So that's great. You don't have to spend like a week later, you have to go back there and remember, oh, did this pass or fail? Like I don't remember. So automatically that is done. Something else that you can do with our automated workflow is to automatically attach a PDF, so a test report, to your work order on your CMMS. So let me show you another example of what that looks like. So here we have an integration. On the left, you have OneQA, and on the right, you have your CMMS. So I'm basically running this test on OneQA. I click done. So our software is buffering, generating that test result. Once that test result is done, I go to my CMMS here on the right, and automatically I go to that work order. And as you guys can see, in the attachment section of that work order, you have a PDF link of OneQA. And if I click on that PDF to view, you will see the test report information from OneQA automatically sent. So no paperwork are needed, no error. Automatically, I sent that PDF to my work order. So I checked all the boxes in the compliance reporting world. So something else that you can do is it can automatically send raw data, so test results, to a CMMS work order. So what did we see? We saw that I could automatically call it a pass or fail on my CMMS. I could attach a PDF. Now I'll show you how you can actually send the raw data results to fields in your CMMS. So over here, I'll start off getting the work order information from the CMMS, and then I'll jump into OneQA. I'll copy that work order, and then I'll run a test. I'll click done because just to show you the results, and very quickly that information was sent to the CMMS. I just have to put in 2 more inputs, and I'll go and I'll save that, and then I'll go to the service information. There in the service order information, you will see here, I have all of the results here, past result, all the raw data is in the service history of this CMMS work order. And that is easily done through an integration. So here, what you're seeing is a full, is a end-to-end workflow integration where the work order started in the CMMS, you run a test in OneQA, and OneQA pushes the data in the format that you want, raw data, PDF, or just as a pass or fail in different software. So different software systems. OneQA is compatible with any software system, and we are happy to work with your software system so you can also have this end-to-end integration. So this end-to-end integration has so many benefits. One, you know that everyone is following the same step by step, because you can't complete the process in OneQA unless they follow the mandatory steps. So a work order will never be closed unless that person has followed the procedure that you've determined. Number two, there's no more errors or losses of content. I'm sorry, of test results or reports. You will have almost like two databases of reports. You will have a report on OneQA that is saved and sent to your CMMS, or you will have the raw data, or you have the results. So think of it as um, a customizable playground where you get to play with whatever you think is the right for your organization. You get to send the information that is vital for your policies, and you have to determine how to customize that. You can either use the standard default that comes with the OneQA, or you can customize that integration. You can use OneQA without this. So you can just run your tests in OneQA. Let's say you're an OEM and you want to run product validation tests. Do you need a CMMS? No, you don't. You can just run on QA and get benefits. I know one product validation engineer that was spending 45 minutes and to do a test on a patient monitor. With OneQA, he decreased it from 45 minutes to 6 minutes, and he was just focused on that part of the workflow. But if you want an end-to-end workflow from the CMMS back to CMMS without any loss of paper trails, with very reduced human errors, this is the way to go. So one thing,
That's a good point. If you don't mind me
yeah,
jumping on there, Marcella.
yeah, absolutely.
You know, I just had a customer. I was calling on them, and they had a data breach. You know, with everything going on right now, one of their employees went to open up an email, thinking it was the right thing, and accidentally let in a virus, and it wiped out their CMMS package. And they were down for about 2.5 months while they tried to recover their data from their CMMS. Here, it's already there. You have that second version that you mentioned in OneQA that can be retrieved at any time. It's on a separate, completely separate cloud from your main data. So if you do have an inspection or somebody comes in and says, hey, where's that? You're not saying, hey, listen, our system's down. No, you're saying, here, just let me go to the OneQA system. I'll pull it right back up for you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really great example of how it's a good idea to have a plan B. So
Always.
as you can see here on OneQA, I have my home, the section where I'm running results, and I have results in progress, so I can just go back later if I had a fire I had to put out while I was doing this very, very long PM, and I don't want to lose all the work that I did. So if I do want to just, let's say, look for an older patient monitor test that I've done, I can just go through my results, and let's say I can find that very easily. Oops, defib. I'll just look for a defib. There we go. Oh, this defibrillator test I did a month ago, I have it here with the information on OneQA. And let's say I have an auditor that's like breathing on my neck. I can easily say, hey, here's the whole test. I can also immediately export it as a PDF and then print it. And if I need a hand copy, I have that. And I can easily just give it to the auditor. As you guys know, appearances are very key. So sometimes let me just save this report quickly here. And then you can say, oh, here's one report. Every report looks exactly like this. And sometimes just one report is enough for you to satisfy that auditor. So this is the whole end-to-end idea. And if you want us to work with you to kind of get you that end-to-end workflow, we're happy to do that. Or you just don't want to and want to use it just to do the test automation efficiency, also works. So OneQA is basically so customizable that you can just pick and play the parts of the puzzles that are working for you. And let's then go back to the next topic, which I'll jump over to Justin and he'll talk to you about how you can reduce test time and errors with this automated data collection process that we have with OneQA.
All right, thank you. So I want to pick right back up where Marcella left off with her example. She showed you where all that data is coming into. And I want to play this scenario for you. What time can you get into an OR? Typically you can't start your OR service till they're done operating your OR. So if you're one of those biomed shops that you have multiple technicians, you sometimes have a guy who starts at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, or you have a guy who comes in, or a technician, I should say, that comes in at the end of the day, maybe 4 or 5 o'clock, and they don't even start their PMs until it's late. So they may have already worked part of a day. I was with a small ISO for 17 years, and a lot of times we would travel to the site and we'd have 4, 5, 6 hours before we could even start. Well, the question that I always would raise is, once you start doing those PMs and it's late and it's cold and you're tired, and your limits, maybe say your limit on something's 5.0. But if you wrote down 5.01, it technically failed, and you knew that you're going to have to go back and either service it or remove the item from service. And removing an item from an OR and saying, hey, this is unserviceable, isn't always an easy thing to do, because they're counting on that being in there and being working the next day. And it's a lot of tap dancing to explain to the doctor that, hey, listen, this one was actually found failed, and we had to pull it out, and you can have a lot of upset people. My point of this is when it's recording the values, any of our Fluke devices, specifically now we're starting off with our ESAs, our electrical safety analyzers, and our defib analyzers. If we're doing the test and the test fails, it's going to bring all that data right into OneQA. So if you have a failed test result, it's going to be marked as a failed test result, and it's going to force that technician to do something about that piece of equipment. Maybe they will have to pull it out of service or initiate that repair. So if it's 5.01, the result is 5.01 and not accidentally pencil up to 4.99 so that it could be done with that device and moving on. So that's going to save a lot of time and hassle and heartache in the long run as well, because if you can mark an item or find the item on the onset of when it's failing and take care of the issue, and then it's usually a smaller issue than if it's on the backside and you have a patient incident that results because you left that piece on the floor and being used. So let's now move into this test automation portion of it. So what does this test automation mean for the Fluke software? So as I mentioned, our ESAs and our defib analyzers, and soon to come, our ventilator testers, we're going to be able to connect those devices straight into OneQA. So we have a video we'll show here in a few minutes. And what we're going to do is we're going to show you how it hooks up from your PC to the device. It's a simple USB cable. You plug it in. All of your test procedures are already into OneQA. We've talked about how you can automate those, how you can bring them in, how you can import them, how you can modify them. All that's in OneQA. The technician is going out to the floor. He's plugging in a device. He's finding the device he has to test, connecting it to his test device, opening up the procedure, and pushing go. That's it. Push go. From that point in time, OneQA takes over, and it's going to tell you what to do. Maybe you need to turn on the defibrillator or turn it off. Once you do that, you push the next button that says go, and it moves on, and it's going to redo all the testing for you. So if you look at some of these new procedures, like the Zoll X Series defibrillator per se, there's a lot of tests that need to be done on it. So if you can automatically record this test and you're just pushing a button, and your hand staying on the device you're testing and not going from this device back to your analyzer, back to your PC, all those movements take up time. Every time you move from one to set your hand in place on another to place on another, all that goes away. You might have one finger on the monitor, defibrillator, whatever you're testing, to turn it off or on, and the other one on your keyboard to hit the next step. Everything else is being done for you. So it's going to streamline your process. Every test is performed the same way. You can't skip that step. There's nothing more infuriating for me when I was reviewing my work orders and found out the technician drove 300 miles and forgot to do a step. Why? Maybe the nurse came in and had an issue, or the doctor had an issue, or the patient had an issue. Once you're on that floor, you're a valued commodity. Everybody wants to talk to you and say, hey, while you're here, or you forgot to put your sticker on. There's even a step in our system here that says, did you put the Biomed sticker on? Because I have done that one more than once and walked out and forgot to put the sticker on when I was done. But all that's run through, and you're not going to be going through your work orders saying, hey, you know what, Jim? I was reviewing your work orders, and you close these all out, but do you realize on your DFib you missed step 17, and you don't have a result here? So now that technician would have to stop what he's doing, go get out the analyzer, go get his PC, go out to the floor and find the device. And is it where you left it? You know, if it's a defibrillator, maybe. IV pumps, nah, man, those things walked away. You got to go find that device, set up everything, do the test, fix that piece of data. That is a lot of wasted time. I mean, I don't know, what's that, an hour a day if you have to drive someplace? So every one of those mistakes gets reduced or eliminated because this won't let you proceed to close it unless every one of those steps is completed and every bit of the data is accurate and correct. So we'll have a video here in a second showing you those things. Is there anything you want to add on there, Marcella?
No. Let's turn on that video. I think it's I think we can. Then we'll just circle back and conclude the video. Conclude our session today.
So how hard is it to run a test with OneQA? Here we go. So we already put our asset in. We already have our device connected to our PC. So let's select our device, our infusion device here. There's a picture maybe with it, so I know it's our device. And I'm going to go down here to the template, and I'm going to push play. And here we go. We're going to put the work order ID. We're going to pull that off our list from my CMS package. And we're simply going to go down here and push play. Not that hard. Now it's going to walk us through the steps. Making sure we have the right asset tag. And now we're ready to answer the questions. Confirm that the exterior of the infusion device is clean and undamaged. Yep. Confirm the power cord and adapter and strainer leaf are undamaged. Yep. Confirm the sensors and extension cables are clean and undamaged. Yep. Now we're going to start our electrical safety portion. Before executing electrical safety tests, ensure the infusion device is plugged into the equipment outlet and the electrical safety analyzer. Alright. We're going to push play. There's our leakage testing. Connect your test lead from the red 2-wire VA, ohm, and amp jack to the accessible earth-fed convective point on the access enclosure. Confirm the test lead from our 2-wire accessible point in the conductive asset. Powered on. Okay. Confirm that you filled out your Biomed sticker and put it on top of the device. Now it says here complete the procedure. We're done. So I'm going to hit done. Power is about to turn off. Perform any required operations on the device you're testing before continuing. Powered off. Continue. It's going to complete it. It's going to save it to where I designated it to. So here's my test result. I can click on and see. With all the data that my analyzer and OneQA just recorded for me. Making sure all the results are exact and they are all passing. And then I can get out of this and I can go to my bin where I put all my test results. Here we go. There's our report.
All right, picking back up since you saw that video, I want to point out something that happened in that video that you might not have caught. There's 2 or 3 steps in there that kind of got blurred by. I brought it up right in the screen and it said a box. It said power DUT on before continuing. So if you look at some of the devices that have a built-in automation, it might bloop it on the screen real quick. And if you're not paying attention and you don't turn on or off your device you're testing quick enough, it's going to keep motoring through and you might end up with false positives or false results. End of story. So those are important steps to have included. It says turn the device on, turn the device off before you can continue. This is one of these things we're talking about, reducing the errors in your testing procedures, because it prompts the technician to do what they need to do when they need to do it. And you can build your own prompts. Turn the device over, take out this screw, insert this fuse, change this filter. All those things can be added into there, and they have to complete each and every bit of that so that they're not getting false readings. And those are the errors we want to reduce.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, absolutely. So I think one thing I just wanted to add is that OneQA is the only software out there from a test device company where we spent years working on having this procedure builder tool where you not only get these pop-ups that are there for you not to make these life-changing mistakes. So the procedure builder feature is unique to OneQA. No one else has it, where you have very tailored step-by-step components in the software builder tool where only we have it. So it's not a generic checklist like you see in other competitors and CMMS. It's not a generic form builder. It's a form builder, checklist builder created and tailored just for biomeds, which is extremely unique for us. And you might be saying, hey, Marcella, like, sounds great, but I'd like to see it myself so I can see the efficiencies and really put it and compare it to my current workflow. So OneQA has a free trial. You can use it for 30 days. And if you say, hey, 30 days is enough for me, give us a call. I'll extend it for 60 days. We really want you to try it and see for yourself that you can gain those efficiencies. And if you're having issues, we have an onboarding team that can help you with that. So let's just circle back to what we talked about in the beginning.
Can
Justin
I jump
and
on there real quick?
Yeah, for sure.
I wanted to say something though. You know, you're saying that we're going to click on the software and you can simply start it by just going to our website, going to the software section, scrolling down, finding OneQA. Yeah, try it for free right there. You're going to sign up for this and you're going to think, well, oh my gosh, I'm going to have all these manuals to read. I don't have time right now. I got to tell you guys something. I'm an old jarhead and we're not known for being the brightest crayons in the box. I was able to pick up and be operating this software in literally less than 30 minutes with minimal instruction. It's that intuitive. Once you understand some very basic principles about it, you can be up and running literally within an hour.
Yeah.
You can be starting to test. Is it going to be done at that point? Oh, no. It's just going to be a work in progress. It depends how far you want to go with it, but you can be up and running very quickly. And on her screen right there, there's a little icon in yellow. So if you get stuck, you can actually click on it and talk to people. There you are. And walk you through what you need. And it's a real person, by the way. So these are features that we talk about that we bruise right through, but this is the difference. This is what's going to make it so easy for you and easy to adapt and easy to install and easy to get up and running. So I just want to point that out there real quick. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great idea. So the yellow box, the yellow circle here, is it basically our customer success team that will get in touch with you. And we have the FAQ, the OneQA. What you're seeing right now, you can see it in your computer in 5 minutes if you just download the software. And then you can try it out. And if you need any questions, just send us a message. We'll help you onboard very quickly. And what I wanted to then go back to is what we started off. So let's say you have more than 4 engineers. Let's say you have 10. Just multiply 20,000 by 10 engineers, and that is the efficiency that you're going to have. We have seen even more efficiency depending on how clunky your current workflow is and depending on the size of your team. So really focusing on decreasing that test time. So that is something that automation can do for sure. Also, automated documentation. there's no doubt in my mind that writing stuff down versus having a computer write it down for you will bring you those efficiencies. So reducing test time because of automation, having documents created for you instead of you having to do it manually. Not only does it make it faster, it decreases the amount of errors. And the third one is the engineer training cost. Because you can have visual step-by-step procedures that someone can follow, basically they can train on the job, and they can't finish a procedure unless they do that step. So you know for sure that everyone is doing the same. So think of it that way: $20,000 of efficiency gains every year per engineer. Multiply that by the number of engineers that you have. So that's the total amount of efficiencies that you would see per year. And on top of that, think of the many intangibles, the risks that are mitigated, the other benefits that you have. And the last thing that I want to point out is the time that you've taken on procedures. So I've seen many hospitals that you have one person that their project is in 5 years, document all their procedures and create checklists, and they take forever to do it. With OneQA, basically that person, you can say, hey, you can focus on something else. Just look through the samples here that OneQA has and use these procedures that have been validated by OneQA. So that saving, I feel like this is the biggest amount of savings that you might have. So let's say, for example, that you have over 100 procedures. Like think through the time it would take that person to digitize those procedures to create them electronically. That's a lot more than $80,000 of efficiencies, I would say. So it really depends on each hospital. So take that calculation, a piece of paper. How much time have I spent, has my FTE spent just creating those procedures, and add that to the efficiencies. So ultimately, if you have 4 engineers with like less than $10,000 a year, you can gain 10 times more value. So this is, I don't want to call it a secret, but I think everyone should know this. You can really, with a very low investment, get a lot of efficiencies. And around this time, as we are looking into the new age of digital and digital transformation in hospitals, this is the best time for you as a manager to bring this up and test it out and show your COO, for example, of the efficiency gains that you're bringing to the hospital. And I believe that's all I had for you guys. I'm really excited to spend some time with you. We're more than happy to have a Q&A later. But for now, that's all, folks. Thanks again, Justin, for helping. It's always great to do these webinars with you.
You as well. Thank you.
Awesome. Right. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Marcella and Justin, for your time today. I enjoyed this presentation, and I'm sure our attendees did too. I'd like to encourage everyone to visit today's sponsor to learn more about the solutions that Fluke Biomedical is providing to the industry. You can visit their website by going to flukebiomedical.com. A quick reminder to obtain your certificate for 1 CE credit from the ACI. Please remember to click the link located below this webinar title to complete today's survey. If you have any questions, you can reach us at webinar@mdpublishing.com. And be sure to visit webinarwednesday.live for a calendar of upcoming webinars, more on-demand education, and podcasts. We'll see you back real soon, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day.